and Chelsey Jackson. Jordan had 8 points and Chelsey had 19 points. We'll start with a statement from Coach.
Obviously, very disappointing. We felt like we had a pretty good game plan in place, and it worked early. We were forcing them out of their scoring zones, and they shot 18 threes in the first half. I know they don't want to shoot that many. And when making 5 of them and shooting 35% from the floor in the first half, I felt pretty comfortable with that. The disappointing part was we also changed our offense for this game, and I felt like, sometimes coaches forget things, but I felt like we got really good looks early too. A lot of layups, a lot of wide open shots, and just couldn't get anything to fall. Obviously to go 5 of 31 is a tough first half. So we got ourselves behind the 8 ball. We knew coming out in the second half we were going to have to make a little bit of a run. I didn't anticipate them to shoot the basketball in the way they shot the basketball. And I'm not trying to take anything away from South because they're a phenomenal basketball team, and obviously we've had trouble with them in the past. But I'm pretty positive they shoot 8 of 11 from threes throughout this year. They're the number 1 seed, not the 3 seed. And unfortunately, we caught them on a night where they just played extremely well. And put one on us, and the score turns out to be something that I'm very disappointed in because I feel like we're a much better basketball program than what you just saw.
Time for questions for players.
Either of the players, why was it so difficult to get good looks offensively, or at least finish those looks during the first half?
I feel like in the first half we were getting good looks, just can't make them. Sometimes you can't make them, and that's what was happening. I mean, we got good looks in the first half, and I feel like even in the second half we were getting good looks. I mean, layup here, layup there, 3-pointer there, miss it, and then they come down and hit probably 7-8 straight 3-pointers. I mean, that stuff snowballs, and we just got to find a way to knock down a shot when we need to.
Defensively, they really killed you with transition baskets over and over and over and over and over again. Why was it difficult to get back defensively?
I just feel...
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
Because they're very good at it, Tom. I mean, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, but they're very good at it. I mean, they've been doing it for teams for years. They're just excellent at it. They don't take any plays off. They run and they run. And when we got into some early foul trouble, I mean, we had 3 players get 2 fouls right away in the first half. And our bench is limited. With Courtney out, these 2 have to log a lot of minutes. And then our rotations are different. And then some fatigue starts setting in. It's just I don't think it's a matter of whether we wanted to do it or couldn't do it. I just think that they're very, very good at that part of their game.
Jordan, once they started hitting from the 3-point line, and does it almost feel like the crowd's kind of on top of you at that point? They're just feeding off of it.
Oh yeah, I mean their crowd obviously is pretty much like the 6th man here, and once you hit one or make a big, like run out of transition, and they make a nice pass and get a layup. I mean, we just have to find a way not to put our head down when that happens, and come down, be confident, and answer, and knock down a shot. And but the crowds. I mean, 4,000, 5,000 people is. It's a great atmosphere to play in, but it's for South, not for us. But I mean, either way, it's just they pretty much feel like they're right there.
Chelsey, you guys had to be feeling pretty good with about 5.5 minutes left in the first half. You cut the lead to 2 after Bossie's free throws. Just kind of, what do you feel maybe transpired those last 5 minutes of the first half?
I don't even know. I just know we were right there, and then we let it get away from us. That's all I know.
Last question for players.
Chelsey, what will you, as you look back and evaluate this season, what are you going to take from this season, looking at the big picture, the whole year?
I think one thing that I take from this season is knowing that every possession counts, And basketball is a game of runs, but we have to figure out as a team how to answer other teams' runs and not let them go on like a 16-0 run, 15-0 run. We got to learn how to answer the runs sooner.
Thank you to the players. You can go off here, right? Coach will stay with us for 9 minutes.
Coach, just the same question for you. As you look back in the whole 4.5, 5 months, what do you take from this?
Well, what I take from it is it's hard to find failure in the best season you've ever had. It's the most Division I wins we've ever had. It's the most conference wins we've ever had. It's the most home wins we've ever had. So, am I disappointed in the way they ended? Absolutely. But it's very hard to sit here and say it's a failure when it's the best season that you've ever had as a program or a university. So, you know, we'll take this for what it is. It's a loss. And we'll move on. We have a lot of players coming in. You know, we have 5 players who finish in the conference in the top 30 in scoring, and they're all underclassmen, and they're all coming back. We have 2 very good transfers from solid programs that will help us next year. And our 2010 recruiting class is probably the best one we've ever had. So we will be better next year. And what we've been trying to do, and I think if you remember me saying this, I've said it every year we've been up here, we're trying to build a basketball program from the ground up. We're trying to build a basketball program from the ground up that had absolutely zero history. None. And every year we just got to try to get better. And we've got good kids, we've got good people, and we continue to get that type of quality people. And we just have to take another step next year.
Coach, you touched on it earlier, but you haven't beat South Dakota State in your career yet. The only team you haven't beat. I mean, just talk about getting over the hump against these Jackrabbits.
If I'm correct, a lot of teams haven't beat South in the last 3 years. You know, I'm not going to go hang myself because I lost to South when they were 30-1 last year going in to play Baylor. Does it bother me? Yes. But they're really, really good. And unfortunately for us, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Oral Roberts, I believe that's the 1 seed. I do. I believe they're the favorite. And I think, honestly, the other programs feel it. Whenever you play South in front of 5,000 people and the type of history and program that they have, they're the favorite. And it's not going to shock me at all if they have a big win, a couple big wins, and go to the NCAA tournament again. Unfortunately, we've been to Summit League 3 years, and our first-round opponent has been the host school twice. Somehow we got to figure out a way to stay away from the host schools early on and move on, and we will. And we will eventually beat South. I promise you. I promise you.
In the first half, you guys didn't score for a good 5.5 minutes. Was that because South Dakota's defense, or was that because maybe shot selection for you guys?
You know, when you get beat as bad as we did, I've got to get all the credit in the world to South. You know, because the thing that they do, once again, this comes back to a program that's won for a long time. And they know how to win. So they weather storms, and they can sense, you know, it's like a shark in the water. They can sense the blood. And as soon as they smell it, they feed off of it. And we miss a shot, they go down, make one. Now all of a sudden the crowd's into it, and they get amped up a little more. And we rushed a little more. Do I feel like we were getting good shots? Yeah, I do. But for the most part, to be honest with you, I think at that point South just took their game to a little bit higher level than we did. And instead of being down, you know, 4, 5, 6 at half, you're down 16, and then that's a tough number to come back from on the road.
One more. Coach, how would you evaluate the point guard by committee over the last 10, 12, 14
I don't like
days?
it.
Well, I know that, but just talk about the different players that filled that role and how they did.
I think they did the best job they could do. It's unfair to these two. I feel really bad for these two because they haven't run the point in 3 years. And then all of a sudden you've got somebody who is the captain and has been a starting point guard for 2 solid years and plays over 30 minutes a game and gets everybody where they need to go. And now you're asking Chelsey Jackson to do it. And I don't like my point guard shooting 19 times. She's a scorer, not a point guard. And it's unfair to her. And I'm not upset with her about it. And I'm not upset about Jordan about it. But we need to get back next year. We've got a couple coming in where we have a true point guard and put these 2 back on the wing. The beauty of it, Tom, is they come back. You know, that starting 5 we put on the floor tonight all comes back. That's the beauty of it. We just got to get somebody to run the show. That's all.
Thanks, George.
Thank you, guys.